special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design.
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head, a million dreams keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but say that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see.
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head.
A million dreams are keeping me
A million dreams, a million dreams. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
for the world we're gonna make.
This is my worship, this is my offering. In every moment, I withhold nothing. I'm learning to trust you, even when I can't see it. And even in suffering, I have to believe it. If you say it's wrong, then I'll say no. If you say release, I'm letting go. If you're in it with me, I'll begin. And when you say to jump, I'm diving in. If you say be still, then I will wait. If you say to trust, I will obey. I don't wanna follow my own ways. I'm done chasing feelings. Spirit, lead me. Oh, Spirit, lead me. It felt like a burden, but once I could grasp it, you took me further, further than I was asking. And simply to see you, it's worth it all. My life is an altar, let your fire fall. If you say it's wrong, then I'll say no. If you say release, I'm letting go. If you're in it with me, I'll begin. is gone. When all hope is gone and your word is all I've got, I have to believe you still bring water from the rock to satisfy my thirst, to love me at my worst. And even when I don't remember, you remind me of my word. I don't trust my ways, I'm trading in my faults. I lay down everything, 'cause you're all that I want. I've landed on my knees, this is the cup you have for me. And even when it don't make sense, I'm gonna let your spirit lead. 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 Come on, let's sing it out. Here we go. Spirit lead me. Spirit If you say it's wrong, then I'll say no. If you say release, I'm letting go. If you're in it with me, I'll begin. And when you say to jump, I'm diving in. If you say be still, then I will wait. If you say to trust, I will obey. You're the only truth, the life, the way. I'm done chasing feelings. Spirit lead me. Yeah. Oh. Spirit lead me. Your love is like radiant diamonds bursting inside us. We cannot contain. Your love will surely come find us like blazing wildfire, singing your name. God of mercy, seal of mine, I have surrendered to your design. May this offering stretch across the skies. These hallelujah
Athletic Foundation to get your tickets. If you would go to table 28, those beautiful ladies there will take care of you. For all you professionals out there, extra drink tickets are at table 28 with a donation to the Springdale Athletic Foundation. Thank you, guys.
Welcome to the 2021 Springdale Athletic Hall of Fame Banquet. We appreciate you all taking time out of your schedule to join us tonight. We expect this to be a really fun, exciting night to hear some great stories of things that have taken place in the halls of Springdale High School and HAR-BER High School and other places in Springdale as well. It's my privilege to be the athletic director for Springdale Public Schools. We are the largest district in the state. And so when you think about that, we're probably one of the largest athletic departments in the state as well. So let me give you some numbers to kind of ponder as you're eating your salad and carrot cake. This past year, we have 184 teams in Springdale, 7 through 12. 184. We have over 200 coaches. The majority of those coaches are certified teachers who teach history, math, science, PE, whatever. They have typically 5 obligations, then they coach a sport. Over 200. We also have a few volunteers who donate their time, energy, and resources to help coach a team. That leads us to 3,900 student athletes who wear our uniform from our 11 schools that have 7th through 12th grade athletics. 3,900 student athletes. That's a lot of kids that we connect and engage. We're so fortunate in this district that our administration has a great understanding and has had a great understanding of athletics and what it means. We work hand in hand with our district administration. Dr. Jared Cleveland, our superintendent, please stand up, be recognized. We work hand in hand with district administration to connect and engage kids. Our building administrators, we've got some great building administrators who have been coaches. They understand what it's like to drive a bus, to take a kid home, to pick a kid up. So that makes our job easier. It's still difficult, but it makes it easier. Come on, it's okay. I have a team of 4 people, myself, and 3 others who are the glue that keeps it all together. So they might take a phone call from a happy parent or a phone call from a upset parent. They do schedules. They put out a weekly schedule with all the events we have. They sell tickets. They may do the POs, all the paperwork and things behind the scenes that help us be successful. So if you would join me for a minute and thank my teammates, Christy Whaley and Janet Kate, please stand up. I'm also very fortunate in the fact that a couple years ago, Dennis DeBusk decided to end his hobby of coaching because, as Dennis said, he never worked a day in his life. He just had a hobby of coaching. And so I met with Dr. Rollins and Dr. Cleveland, and they said, Stellick, who do you want? No brainer, no question. Let's get this done. And so we hired a former coach who has coached multiple sports, got into academics, and was an assistant principal. Was actually the assistant principal of the year in the state of Arkansas. And then went into and accepted the job as an assistant AD. Now, I guess if you're a Star Wars fan, you might think, well, she went to the dark side of athletics. But she is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Please give it up for Miss Betsy Barker. Tonight we celebrate the achievements and the success stories of our inductees. What we also are going to talk about is the connections, the engagements, and the relationships that they built when they were a player. Maybe it could have been another player, could have been a coach, could have been a teacher, could have been somebody else in the community. And it's kind of funny. When you think about all the changes that have taken place in our culture in the last 10, 15, 20, 30, 70 years, it's still connecting, engaging in relationships that make a business, a coach, or a school a success. And I'm so proud of the coaches that we have in our district, because our coaches work day and night to connect kids, to engage kids, to build relationships. And on top of that, all these kids have dreams. Just like all of us. We've all got dreams. When Dr. Allens was here, he had dreams. Dr. Cleveland's got dreams. Somebody else over here has dreams. Good timing. It was perfect. But our coaches work hard to help our kids fulfill their dreams. From where I sit as the athletic director, I have dreams. You know, before I became the athletic director, I coached a little bit. I got to hang around some pretty good people. And as a coach, you always dream of winning a championship, whether it's a conference championship, a state championship, or in my case, a national championship. I was able to have enough luck that my dream of winning a national championship was realized, and now that becomes a great memory. And so I think tonight what we'll hear from our inductees is that we'll hear about the dreams they had here in Springdale, at Springdale, HAR-BER, or someplace else, and how those dreams became a great memory. Thank you, and enjoy your dinner. Thank you very much.
Would you lie with me and just forget the world? Forget what we were told before we get too old. Show me a garden that's bursting into life. Oh, all that I am and all that I ever was is here in your perfect eyes. They're all I can see. I don't know where, confused about how as well. Just know that these things will never change for us at all. If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget the world?
Can you feel it? Now it's coming back. We can steal it. If we bridge this gap, I can see you through the curtains of the waterfall. When I lost it, yeah, you held my hand, but I tossed it. Didn't understand you were waiting as I dove into the waterfall. So say Geronimo, say Geronimo, say Geronimo, say Geronimo, say Geronimo, say Geronimo, say Geronimo. Can you feel? Well, we rushed it, moving way too fast, and we crushed it. But it's in the past. We can make this leap through the curtains of the waterfall. So say Geronimo, say Geronimo, say Geronimo, say Geronimo, say Geronimo, say Geronimo, say Geronimo. Can you feel? Well, I'm just a boy with a broken toy, all lost and coy. So it's here I stand as a broken man, but I found my friend. Now I'm falling down through the crashing sound, then you come around. And you rush to me, and it sets us free, so I fall to my knees. So say Geronimo, 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 sounds alright, sounds alright, sounds alright, say Geronimo.
special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design.
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but say that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see.
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head.
A million dreams are keeping me
A million dreams, a million dreams. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
for the world we're gonna make.
This is my worship. This is my offering. In every moment, I withhold nothing. I'm learning to trust you, even when I can't see it. And even in suffering, I have to believe it. If you say it's wrong, then I'll say no. If you say release, I'm letting go. If you're in it with me, I'll begin. And when you say to jump, I'm diving in. If you say be still, then I will wait. If you say to trust, I will obey. I don't wanna follow my own ways. I'm done chasing feelings. Spirit, lead me. Oh, Spirit, lead me. It felt like a burden, but once I could grasp it, you took me further, further than I was asking. And simply to see you, it's worth it all. My life is an altar. Let your fire fall. If you say it's wrong, then I'll say no. If you say release, I'm letting go. If you're in it with me, I'll be is gone. When all hope is gone and your word is all I've got, I have to believe you still bring water from the rock to satisfy my thirst, to love me at my worst. And even when I don't remember, you remind me of my word. I don't trust my ways, I'm trading in my faults. I lay down everything, 'cause you're all that I want. I've landed on my knees, this is the cup you have for me. And even when it don't make sense,
Knows or heard of the Springdale Athletic Foundation, but really don't know what we do. And while you guys, I've got you as a captive audience and the microphone, I thought I'd share that with you before we get on to this evening's festivities. So the Springdale Athletic Foundation is basically ran by a bunch of volunteers that are elected. They don't get paid, there's no compensation for it, but their sole purpose is to support Springdale Public Schools athletics. So we do that by raising money. We do it with Coach Stellick, and we try to figure out, what are the needs of the district, how do we raise money, and how do we support the kids to better enhance their experience. And some of the things that we've done in the past for the district is we've raised money to start seventh grade athletics, uniforms and equipment, and we raise money to pay for that stuff, trips for competitions, we pay for that stuff, things that we can do to help take the pressure off of the district to help athletics. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to help kids, we're trying to connect with them, keep them focused on athletics, out of trouble, off the streets, doing things they're not supposed to do, give them a purpose, and maybe even an education after high school. So this whole event is presented by the Springdale Athletic Foundation. Like I said, I'm the president-elect. Dusty Graham is the president. We have silent auction upstairs. If you guys, please take some time to go up there, look at it. We are trying to raise some money. Everything that we raise, 100% of it goes right back to the kids. So we're just trying to raise some money for the kids, make it better for them for the short amount of time that we have them. And we appreciate you guys being a part of this evening and honoring these great inductees. Enjoy your dinner. We'll get started here shortly. I believe Zach Arns is queued up. We're ready to go. All right, I'm going to introduce Zach Arns. Zach Arns is the voice of the Springdale Bulldogs. You guys have heard him. You've seen him. It's been in TV and radio for 100 years. Please help me welcome Zach Arns.
Thank you, Donald. This is quite the setup, so this will be unusual. We're going to give you a couple of minutes to just finish your dinner. We'll get started here in about 15 minutes, and my goal is to get you in and out of here in an hour and 21 minutes. I got us in and out in an hour and 15 last year, and everybody seemed to like that, so except Jana. And we'll start here in about 15 minutes. So at the inductees, in about 15 minutes, I'll call you up, and we'll have you all join us up here, and we'll get started.
Your love is like radiant diamonds bursting inside us. We cannot contain. Your love will surely come find us like blazing wildfire, singing your name. God of mercy, sweet love of mine, I have surrendered to your design. May this offering stretch across the skies. These hallelujah
Way up to the front here, and we'll get this thing started. Dr. Rollins, you're right there.
Thank you, fellas. Good.
I'm good so far.
We're missing. Good. All right, it looks like we've got everybody up here, so we're going to go ahead and get started. First of all, I'd like to welcome you to the Apollo here on Emma. If you haven't been in the building before, it's a great place to have this event, and we'd like to welcome you to the 2021 Springdale Hall of Fame inductions. My name is Zach Arns. I'm serving as my 7th year as the voice of Springdale football and basketball. I'm very privileged to do that, and I can't believe they ask me back to do this every year. Just a couple of things before we get started here. Upstairs, there is a silent auction going on to raise some money. If you all would, on your way in or out, please stop by and write your name down on something. If you're, as Donald said, a professional, tickets are for sale out there. You'll have to make a donation. It's buy one, bring me one. So if you're going, just on your way back, please bring me one. I'm honored to do this. I'm still shocked that Jana every year asks me to do this. It's one of my favorite nights of the year. Hopefully you'll hear some things and it'll bring a smile to your face. My job is to simply pass the mic, and that is what we're going to do tonight. We're going to start tonight with an inductee from last year. He was unable to join us, class of 2020, Mr. Charlie Fiss. He is a 1970 graduate of Springdale High School. He preceded me as the voice of the Bulldogs, and I am very honored to introduce Mr. Charlie Fiss for induction into the Springdale Athletics Hall of Fame.
Thanks, everybody. You know, as he said, I didn't get to be here last year because of a bout with COVID. I pulled into town and wasn't feeling very good and went to a clinic, and they said, yeah, you have it. Next day, Jen, she came down with it, and so we were contagious. So all we could do is load the van and head back to Arizona. So I really appreciate Wayne and Jana, the foundation, and the Hall of Fame committee for giving us this opportunity to come back a second time and have a redo of this. This is certainly one of those wow moments in life, one of the biggest. I said many times, it's really something special to be recognized and remembered by your hometown. There is no higher honor than this. I've had other awards, but there's nothing quite like this one. So as you can tell, I'm kind of emotional about it, but I'm very humbled and appreciative of this opportunity. And I want to thank the foundation, the nominating committee, the selection committee, everybody for deeming me worthy of this award. It's very humbling to know that you do. So thank you so very much for that. And I'd like to third congratulate the class of 2021. It's a great night for you, but I appreciate you letting me tag along on your big night 365 days later. I won't be long, at least I hope I'm not. I told Wayne, that Coach Stellick, that it'd be 30 minutes or less, so we'll see. I'd like to tell you a brief story about how I got started. I was the Zach 50 years ago. I've led a charmed and blessed life, no doubt about that, and it all started right here in Springdale. This was the launching pad of my sports career. And if I could, I'd like to tell you a story about some of these people that helped me in my formative years. And my story starts with my mother. Like all moms, she took an interest in whatever I was interested in, whether that was horses, motorcycles, Beatles, rock and roll, Razorbacks. It's too bad I wasn't into guitars back when I was that age, because we could really had a lot of fun back then. But she was right in the middle of it all with me. And the reason I bring that up, in high school I wanted to be a radio announcer. So what'd she do? She goes out and buys this reel-to-reel tape recorder. I know everybody's saying, what is a reel-to-reel tape recorder? But there was such a thing. But she got that for me to practice reading from the newspaper to develop a style. And fortunately, her efforts paid off, because I caught on with KBRS radio, which unfortunately is no longer here. But Howard Cook, the program director, he gave me the opportunity to become the nighttime jock, playing the hits. That was his old gig. But it was a man named Curtis Horner, the sales manager, who came up to me one day. He's the one that really shoved me out the door and made me do my first play-by-play broadcast. He came up to me earlier in the week during football season and said, I'm going to be out of town on Thursday night, so that means you're going to have to do my Southwest Cougars game. And I went, you want me to do what? He said, you're going to do my game on the radio. And I said, get out of here, you're crazy. I said, man, there's a lot of difference between watching games and calling a game on the radio. And he said, well, yeah, that's probably true, but you're going to do it. So that was a discussion that I lost, and that's needless to say. So anyway, I didn't want to do it. I was a nervous wreck. It was a road game. I knew all there were going to be a lot of moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas that were going to be listening in. But I got to the stadium, got set up, Cougars kicked the game off, and the next thing you know, the most magical feeling came over me. It was the coolest thing. I thought, this is pretty neat. I like being the ball game guy. Playing the hits is super, but I am going to go back to the radio station tomorrow and make the announcement that I want to be the voice of the Southwest Cougars for the rest of the season. And while I'm at it, I'd like to do the Bulldogs too. So I was on my way, and they gave me that opportunity, and it's just a total blessing, total blessing. I guess the reason why I'm telling you that story about how I got started is because, one moment, your life path is here, and in a blink of an eye, it's over here. And the Southwest Cougars, I know this is going to be a cliche, but the Southwest Cougars changed my life. They really did. They really did. And the Springdale Bulldogs reaffirmed it. So I'm so thankful for that. I was lucky to have two great coaches to work with. Of course, the legend, Coach Gerald Williams, and then Tommy Lester, who was coach of the Southwest Cougars. They put up with a young kid walk into their office every week with a tape recorder in his hand. Wasn't the reel-to-reel tape recorder, but I wanted a pregame interview, and they were great in doing that for me. So that's my story. I'll get ready to sit down, but I'd like to introduce my entourage that came, the rowdy bunch right here. They came from a great distance. I think this couple here, the Tallies, win the longest distance award. They came from San Antonio, places in Arkansas down by Hot Springs. Of course, Kevin Trainer from the Arkansas Athletic Department, he bailed out of the Razorback game early today. I probably shouldn't say that. He went to the restroom at halftime, I believe, and didn't come back. So even though he's, 10 miles down the road, he came from Little Rock. So anyway, I want to thank all these people for coming. I don't know why you do it, but it proves what we always say, that we're a Cotton Bowl family. So thank you. And there's 3 people, if I could introduce them to you. I want to introduce Jennifer Shuck, my beautiful and special lady, who also puts up with me on a daily basis. I never miss a chance to brag on her. She's the world's fastest stenographer. Kevin, trainer, can attest to that. She and I met many moons ago in an interview room at a basketball tournament, of all places, and it's astounding. But, sweetie, I love you. Thank you for always supporting me. Another person is Kathy Lucci, who's also from Springdale. We met in Dallas, Kathy Ross at the time. She has been my right and left hand on all of our events for well over 30 years. And she also arranged for a lot of these people here, the Wild Bunch, the Entourage, the freeloaders, as we tend to call them during Cotton Bowl. She made arrangements for them to be here tonight. So thank you, Kathy, for all you've done for me. And then the third person is someone in this room that I know you're acquainted with, or you know him quite well, Rick Schaefer. I worked under Rick. Billy Rogers here. We worked under Rick at Arkansas in the Sports Information Office many years ago. And he taught me so much. And I tell you, those lessons just come flying back all the time. You know, just every week I think of something that Rick said to me. So I want to thank Rick, because if it wasn't for Rick Schaefer, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be anywhere. I'm not really sure what I'd be doing, but he taught me so many lessons. So those are the people I wanted to bring up. In closing, I just want you to know one more time how grateful I am for bringing me home twice now and inducting me into this Hall of Fame with all these amazing people. It's just totally amazing. I'm appreciative. I'm humbled. 50 years have passed since I had Zach's job as the voice of the Southwest Cougars and the Springdale Bulldogs. And my number one priority then was always to promote and support Springdale athletics. And I'm happy that I get to do that 50 years later and hopefully many years down the road. So thank you again for this wonderful night. I'll never forget it. I appreciate you bringing me back home. Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to start with the 2021 class, and a name that is certainly familiar to everyone who has watched Springdale football over the last 20 years. He was a key cog in probably, in my opinion, the greatest football team that's ever played in the state of Arkansas, the 2005 Springdale Bulldogs. His dad, Larry, a former neighbor of mine, and I don't hold that against you. You need to mow your lawn, dude. Matt Clinkscales is a 2006 Springdale graduate, and again, he was the key cog in that 2005 Springdale Bulldog team. I present to you for induction into the Springdale Hall of Fame, Matt Clinkscales.
Oh, not about a key cog. Sorry about that, guys. I did not write my own speech. That was very eloquent, so I'm sorry if you have to follow up with that. I will say, yesterday I was at a fundraiser, and my brother-in-law, Blake, mentioned that I was getting inducted. And the guy next to me is from Little Rock, and he went to Little Rock Catholic, so we played against him on Thanksgiving week, my senior year. And he looked at me and said, "You played offensive line, didn't you?" And then I realized gravity's hit me a lot. A lot. But, you know, I've kind of said this, it kind of reminds me more of dreams, kind of things that we've done. I mean, I'm 34 next month. I was 17 when I started that journey with Springdale. So it's basically the midpoint of my life so far. So it does remind me a little bit more of dreams. So this award for me is something that I really think of, if you know football, it's an offensive line award. I wasn't anything special. I couldn't run outside. I couldn't run. I didn't get touched till I got 5 yards downfield. So Coach Strubing actually made me watch my film to see the holes that I missed when I was in high school. So I didn't write him in here, but he's definitely a big help on that. So just remember that, Coach. I will say that I'm very fortunate to be with a lot of these people that really did do something great at Springdale. And for me, it basically gave me the structure that I had for the rest of my life, learning how to do everything. So the only thing I'm going to leave you guys with is kind of dreams as I have from my coaches that helped me. So the first one would be Coach Snavely. Coach Snavely, offensive lineman, outran all of his 8th graders for conditioning. I know how old you were back then, and you were faster than us. So I'll tell you that will always be in my mind. I'll tell you that Coach Patrick Scott, I will remember forever him being so mad at us in practice of defense, he tried to kick the ball as far as possible and completely whiffed. And that will be stuck in my head because we had to run after that. And I don't know if it's because we were bad or if he missed the ball. So another one, Coach Hartsfield. I'm a dadgum yahoo, I know it. If you went to Central, you know what that is, and I'm one. He really gave me an opportunity as well. So I always thank you, Fred, for everything you've done. Coach, I don't like calling you Fred. And Coach DeBusk, he was with me my sophomore year, junior, senior, and with Coach DeBusk, he's so funny because we'd be sitting there in Tulsa team camp, sweating, wore out. We've got hours and days of doing stuff, and he'd look at us and he'd get in there, and it was motivational to him, and he'd say, boys, we've got 3 more plays till we can get ice cream. And I don't know if that was good for him, but he always started with ice cream at lunch and went to the meal. So for me, I knew what he meant. Guys, get this over with. I got to get my ice cream. So I got to thank Coach Malzahn. He also tested me. I was talking to Coach Hartsfield, and they knew that I was green, and he always wanted to make sure that I didn't have a breaking point. So we do grass drills, and he would say, clink scales didn't touch the line, so we're going to do it again. Well, I was doing one of these. I was touching the line every time, but he wanted to see if I'd break, and I appreciate that because I think I have a better temperament now because of Coach Malzahn. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming. I have a great supporting cast. My wife, my family that's back there in the corner. They're not very loud right now, but 17 years ago, they were very loud. When they make you feel like you're better than Barry Sanders, you usually could do a lot. So thank you for everybody for coming, and thank you for putting this on. This is such a great event.
Our next inductee is 1989 Springdale High School graduate. He's a terrific all-around athlete in football and track, and his name's John Conklin. And John, I grilled your friends and family before for any sort of dirt, and they won't give it up. There's nothing that you are safe. All of your secrets are safe with them. But I present to you for induction into the Springdale Hall of Fame, Mr. John Conklin.
How are you folks doing tonight? Hey, I just want to say I'm honored. Like I said, I was class 93, played on some really awesome Springdale Bulldog football teams. Coach Matthews, we, had the '89 conference championship. Growing up in Springdale all my life, it was a dream to play for Southwest, Springdale, and then just the opportunity. Like I said, I worked hard. Coach Matthews, he just really pushed us hard. Like I said, we Don Struve, myself, Tommy Golden, we played all 2 years, 8th and 9th grade on the 9th grade team. Just a lot of battles won, and then like I said, we all, Bruce was really an instrumental part in me, starting me off football, and just a great honor, to be able to be one of his 9 conference championship teams. Just a great honor. And like I said, moving on to Springdale, sophomore year. Actually, before my sophomore year, Coach Matthews and Coach Williams was standing down there in the basketball gym at Southwest. And Coach Matthews was talking to Coach Williams, and he's like, Conklin's a hardworking guy, one of the hardest guys, that work for you. So anyway, I just, it's been almost 29 years, and I still take that to heart. you know, just great mentors. You'll never find a bunch of great coaches that care about their players, you know, their teams. It doesn't matter if you're winning or losing. They always know how to pick you up. And that's something I learned growing up, going, you know, through school and college, and now as a grown man with my own family. But just great mentorship from those guys, and that's the one thing that I remember. Like I said, you know, conference championships, we won 2 out of 3 our, you know, sophomore, junior, senior year. Went to travel for Hawaii, all the way to Little Rock, the state championship. But just those things that those guys showed us how to act and be as human beings, and it's just, like I said, almost 30 years, it just really touches my heart. I'd like to thank a couple of people that were really inspirational in my life. I'm gonna say Jan and Don Strubing, they were my second parents. Like I said, it was tough growing up, but you know, they gave me a place to stay, and I will always love them to the bottom of my heart. Excuse me. And then the next is William and Miss Judy Abbott. They were great people too. Like I said, I couldn't have made it through high school without those two sets of parents, because they always looked out for me and taught me a lot of things. I want to thank my wife, Heather, my 2 girls, Kristen and Emily. They're my life, and I don't know where I would be without them. And then closing, I want to say something to a couple of special friends that I've grown up with for almost 34 years. Tommy Golden, Don Strubing, they have been my best friends, my shoulders for the last 34 years. We met in the 7th grade, first day of history class there at Big Don. And like I said, you know, those memories mean more to me than anything in the world. And like I said, I just want to say I appreciate the foundation for the nomination and having me up here, because it's a great honor. Like I said, you know, Coach Matthews, it's great to see him. I haven't seen him in 34 years probably, but anyway, I just want to close with say thank you to everybody and appreciate all you do, and like I said, just all the hard work that these folks do. Thank you.
One of the coolest things about nights like tonight is when the old Bulldogs, and I use that term very respectfully, when they get together, it doesn't take very long to hear the name Gerald Williams pop out, and they all have stories. And I didn't grow up here, I've just sort of been indoctrinated into it, but the man could stop the weather. And everybody who ever played for him was sit there and nod their head and go, yes he could, yes he could. And it's so cool because you eavesdrop on some of their conversations, and you hear stories about Gerald Williams that you just didn't hear before. Our next nominee, inductee into the Springdale Hall of Fame, is a 1988 graduate of Springdale High School. He's a terrific 3-sport letterman in football, basketball, and track. I present to you for induction, Mr. Travis Friesen.
Thank you, and very humbled to be here tonight and to be honored with this. Most of you that know me know that this is something I do not like to do, to get up here and talk in front of people, so I will try to be brief. I want to congratulate all the members that are inducted tonight. I can't think of a better class to go in with than what I got to come in with. Dr. Rollins, shaking a 16-year-old kid's hand and asking me how I was after the game, and Coach Matthews. It's unbelievable to go in with you because you were my coach, and you also taught a young coach how to be a coach, and I'm so thankful for that. And Coach Snavely, did some battles together with. It was always a lot of fun to see him on the other side, so again, I cannot imagine going in with a better group of men. I want to say some thank yous. I want to thank the Lord Jesus Christ for my physical and mental ability to be able to play sports. I wish I would have probably understood that better as a young man. Probably took way too much advantage of it, but all you can do is look back on it and be thankful for what I was able to do. I'm thankful for my mom and dad. They could not be here, Dale and Judy. My dad kind of went through some rough times. Our whole family did, kind of going into junior high, and often sometimes tell younger kids that I probably should have been dead or in jail somewhere because of life. And my two parents, though, they stuck it out together and they got us through things. My dad was a long haul truck driver, so he wasn't at many games, but I do know that he also asked about every game that I ever played in. My mom, she was my biggest fan. I could hear her in the game at Kansas City Rockhurst of 6, 8, 20,000. I don't know what it's grown to now, but could hear her yelling from the stands. I want to thank my sister and brother, Amber and Sean. Say I'm sorry for all the RU Travis's brothers and sister that they got growing up, and do you want to play sports? I want to thank my wife, a graduate in 1992, and my oldest daughter who couldn't be here because she's chasing her dream. She's class of 2015. My youngest daughter, who is going to be class of 2020, we hope. So all four of us have 22, sorry. And so we are looking forward to her graduating as well. And my mother-in-law, I thank, especially growing up as a coach and a young coach, having to listen to all the old war stories that I would give them, and their patience and love that they've endured all that. I would like to also thank my teammates. I'm not going to name names because I couldn't name all the guys that I played sports with, and I was very thankful to play a game with some great men in this community that are still here and still giving back, and wish we could have won a state championship together. I would have taken any state championship over any individual award in any of it. I even would have taken beating Fayetteville in our last basketball game had that been in the cards. Finally, I want to thank my coaches. I'm going to, if you'll bear with me, I'm going to name some names that really stick out, and I'm going to kind of go way back in time. I wasn't much of a baseball player, but probably the first coach that I remember really kind of investing in me and really making a big deal, and he's a man from around here, and his family's around here, is Coach Boatwright, that coached me with the Little League Pirates team that we had there. Coach Reed, Tom Reed, who coached me in 3rd and 4th grade football, got me on 2 teams there and made me fall in love with the game. Coach Slack, probably one of the most disciplined and hardest coaches that I ever coached or played for. Played for him in 6th and 7th grade football. Took a team that was 4-4 our 6th grade year and made us 8-0 our 7th grade year. Would like to thank my junior high coaches, Coach Garinger, definitely the most intense man I've ever been around. Made us an 8-0 team, and also coached me in basketball. Coach Matthews, I don't know what I could say about Coach Matthews. We were also a part of a conference championship, and again, was able to be a part of a conference championship as a coach with him, and that is something special in my life. He is probably my yin to yang. I am super uptight, super stressed out all the time, and take things way too seriously sometimes. And he made the game fun, and really enjoyed playing for him. And I thank you, Coach, for everything. Want to thank Coach Price, the gentle giant that had 6 freshman basketball players, and somehow always made us feel like we were in every game, winning every game, never lost his cool, and took a lot of guys that had never played the game of basketball and invested in us. And thank you, Coach. Your patience and everything you did for us was amazing, and I thank you. Coach Williams, I'm going to kind of start with the top here. Hear stories about telling Coach Williams stories. I could tell the story of being a little freshman football player after a couple games, getting called up to the varsity squad at 170 pounds, playing along the offensive line and looking at all those big guys going, "Friesen, don't you screw this up." I realized I better not. This was after a win that we beat Joplin, and was thinking, looking forward to being called up, and next thing I know, we're out and getting on the line, and he starts blowing the whistle. And we had won, but he didn't think we had won probably by what we should have. And he blew the whistle, and he blew the whistle, and I don't remember if I was counting or somebody else was counting. I do remember there were varsity players running behind me going, "Friesen, slow down, quit running so hard." After about 80 or so, I think we kind of all went, "This is going to be a while." And we kind of got done with that, and the next day I think he felt a little sorry for us, so he backed it off to 70. I don't think we lost too many that year after that. But I think the biggest thing with Coach Williams was that 7th grade year. You know, everybody has their championship pizza parties at King's Pizza. That's where you had to go to have your championship and get your trophy, and you played the jukebox and played the video games. And next thing I know, we're all called over so they can hand out the trophies. And Coach Slack, kind of gave us one last pep talk and shook our hands. And a guy got up from behind the table, and he was the one that would hand us our trophies. And he was there to say, "I can't wait for you to play for me at Springdale." And I knew right then and there I was wanting to be a Bulldog for the rest of my life, and I'm very thankful for that, Coach Williams. A couple other names just want to mention quickly. Coach Orr, who was my football and track coach. He also got me into doing the decathlon. Coach Wimberry, who was also football and my senior track coach. Great men. Coach Lester, who was called back into duty and coached us in the offensive line, and was a great man and always made us smile and then do push-ups all the time because I was 170 pounds. I needed to do a lot of push-ups. Also Coach Smith, football and JV basketball. He was an amazing man. He was the ninja around the parking lot, always catching us, trying to skip out. Love you, Coach, and appreciate everything. And Coach Hamilton, my basketball coach. All of these men invested in my life, and I am so thankful because I don't know what road I would have taken had they not been a part of. Again, I'm very thankful for this nomination and thank you for being here tonight.
Our next nominee needs absolutely no introduction. For 42 years, he coached and taught Southwest Junior High School, compiling 232 wins. And if you do the math on that, it's an absolutely staggering number of victories, and lives touched is probably 10 times that amount. I present to you for induction into the Springdale Hall of Fame, Coach Bruce Matthews.
Let's see. Friesen, you kind of stole my thunder. You're going to talk about some of the same people I talk about, so hope y'all don't mind the redundancy. I wore my contacts. I didn't know it was going to be dark, and my letters are too small on my speech. And so now I have contacts and glasses, and I still can't see. By the way, these are not my good glasses. My dog ate my good glasses. It's the second pair. So, wow, what a deal. What a deal. Yeah, Conklin, real quick. Conklin's an 8th grader walking down the hall out of lunchroom, and I see him, and I look up at him, and I go, hey, Conklin, you want to play football? Yeah, Coach, I want to play football. Special day there, for sure. That group, him, Big Don, who else, Don? Hayward. Yeah, Tommy Golden. I mean, Golden, you want to talk about Golden. I had Golden playing, being a lineman his whole 8th grade year. And all he wanted to do was be on the scout team and run the football. So I let him run it, and he's pretty good, you know. So his 9th grade year, I let him run the football. Still holds the school record. Shows you how smart I am. This is really, really a big deal to me. I never really thought that I'd ever be honored for anything. In these other inductees that I'm going in with, it's really, really remarkable. You know, my wife said, whatever you do, don't get up there and read a speech word for word. And I said, I don't know, you know. She goes, bullets, use bullets. And I thought, well, that might be a way I could get out of reading this speech, but I don't even own a gun, so. Well, I'm glad to be here. I'm very nervous, and I didn't have any drinks tonight. I should have. I had 4 drink tickets, and I don't know what happened to them. And I've always heard, you know, just your family's here, just talk to your family. So I'm talking to them. And, I'd like to introduce them. My daughter, Leah, her friend Tim, my son Mark and his wife Morgan, my son Drew, and my wife Tanya, and my mother-in-law Helen Henson. Miss Henson, Sonny Henson, goes in with the first class of inductees in this Hall of Fame. Sonny Henson is a man's man. It's just a privilege and an honor to have known him. I get choked up thinking about him. I'm a ball bag. Yeah. And thank you all for being here. You know, I always thought if you do something long enough, you don't get fired, you're probably going to get honored. And, you know, here I am. I knew I was getting close to retirement. You know, the kids start coming up to you and they say, Coach Matthews, you coach my brother. Oh, yeah. And then they started hearing, Coach Matthews, you coach my dad. And I go, yeah, I think I did. And then I knew it was time to go when they come in, Coach, you coach my granddad. But I am thankful, and I want everybody to know how thankful I am. You know, there's not a whole lot of people that can say you have been around long enough to go through 3 superintendents. Yeah, that is something when you think about it. Most of those years were with Dr. Rollins, and I could tell what this man has done for me, really remarkable. And I don't really want to go into that, but he's just a remarkable man. Starting out, Charlie's dad, Superintendent Smith, hired me. I'm thankful. I want to thank him for hiring me. I want to thank Dr. Rollins for not firing me. And Dr. Cleveland, just, you know, let me hang out for a few years. Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to get into the portion of my talk where I'd like to speak a little bit about my dad. My dad was the real Coach Matthews. He's an inspiration to me and gave me the courage to be a coach and probably got me hired in Springdale. I always thought he wanted me off his payroll so bad, he called and threatened Coach Williams. You know, he said, you hire this guy or else. So it all worked out. It worked out. He said, son, you're about to finish your college career. what are you going to do? I said, well, Dad, I don't know about this coaching thing. He said, son, you've been in college 8 years. It's 4-year school, you know. And I said, yeah. Well, the next thing I knew, I was at Southwest Junior High. And with Gary Orr. But first I'd like to talk about Coach Williams in the interview process. Oh, my Lord. So I know my dad had called Coach Williams and set up the interview for my job. And I went in there, and I could not tell you what kind of words were coming out of his mouth or what I was saying back to him. But I think he was so scared that my dad was going to get on him that he hired me anyway. Coach Williams was a great mentor for me, still is. He'd get a little upset with me every now and then, and he had a right to be. He fired me a lot, not really, but he'd go, Matthews, you dumbass, you're fired. You know, he'd point at you like that with that little sleepy look, and it was enough to do you in. But the man gave me a chance. Coach Williams had a way of making you feel loved. I'd like to speak a minute about my mentor, and Friesen said his name, Gary Orr, Coach Gary Orr. I came to Southwest. I didn't know anything about anything. And I was out of college and didn't pay a whole lot of attention, like a lot of us. But I got to Southwest in, I was 79, somewhere around there. Coach Orr was there. He was the head football coach. Let's see, I was the 8th grade coach at the time. And I coached track, coached 8th grade girls basketball, 8th grade boys basketball, and 8th grade football. Did that for a couple of years. And Coach Orr was my mentor. And he taught me, he's the one that taught me how to have fun with the young men that I was coaching, how to not be afraid to treat them like young men instead of kids. And just had some wonderful times. You know, and there were a lot of other coaches, not just Coach Williams and Coach Orr and my dad. There were a lot of coaches, a lot of them are in this room. You know, I see Coach Price sitting back there. Coach Price and I worked together for quite a few years. And, you know, after a couple of years at Southwest being the 8th grade coach, Coach Orr got hired to high school. And that's when I became the head football coach at Southwest. And didn't have to coach basketball anymore. Man, was I glad. But I was not as glad as Steve Price. See Coach Hartsfield sitting back there. Fred and I were talking last night at one of the junior high football games. He said, man, we had some great games, some great competition. And I don't know, I'm always giving Fred hell. I mean, I'm sorry, Fred. You know, I'm going to publicly apologize to you right now. Okay? I love you too, man. But we had some great competition, and Coach Hartsfield is a true gentleman, and I guess I'm not. I don't know. It's just so much fun. You just can't believe how much fun it is. And there are so many other people in this room that, you know, my former players that have become coaches. I see Forringer back there. I see Michael Upton. Oh, and I meant to say at the beginning, if you played for me or have any association with me and you have heard a story about me and you would like to share that story at the end, I'll give you an opportunity. You just raise your hand and you say, do you remember or you remember when, like that. All right, now if somebody's got a story at the end, want me to tell a story, just remind me of it and I'll tell the story. All right, that's at the end here real quick. All right, okay. You know, as a coach at Southwest, when we started playing football, I didn't really have to do anything. I got out and, directed practice, told them the plays to practice and this and that, but they really overcame me, and they were able to play, and I had some great teams and just great young men, to be associated with. Lots of studs. And that's why we won. I'm not going to lie. The last few years at Southwest were a little bit tough. They changed these things called boundary lines. Oh yeah, that's right. They took my horses. Not that I had a lot of guys that weren't from Tiny Town that could play, but I mean, these guys from Tiny Town, they can, come to junior high and they had their cigarettes rolled up in their t-shirt sleeve. And I go, hey, we had afternoon practice. I go, why are you late to practice? And Coach, I had to stay home. I had to shave twice. But we had fun. I can ask them all. I can ask any of them, any day. I get hit up all the time at Walmart. Hey, Coach Matthews. And of course, I don't know who they are. And I always ask them, did we have fun? And I've never heard anything but, yeah, Coach, we had fun. These other coaches that are in the room, all very special to me. We were a band of brothers. I mean, back then, there wasn't a room full of us. I mean, now there's a few more. I think Coach Stellick mentioned how many. But in football, we could all sit in Coach Williams' office, and we had a lot of fun. It was really good. There was always three things that I asked my players, ask of them. And first of all, after this season's over, be able to say that you learned a little football. Second of all, did you have fun? Third of all, figure out how to flush the dang toilet. Struben, you were the world's worst. So many memories. So many memories. I don't, I could get up here and probably rattle on for quite a while, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna keep it short. Shut her down. Let I don't know who's next, but you'll do great. All right, anybody want to start out raising your hand and Coach Matthews' story? Anybody? Go ahead. Come on, bring it on. Oh, my Lord. Who's it? Well, I can't tell you that one. I can't tell that one. Anybody else? Come on. Are we going to keep it a secret? All right, I like that too. Got all these administrators here. I might get fired twice. Strubing?
Tell about that time that your bus got stuck.
I can't tell that story.
That's PG.
I know, it is funny. It is funny. Were you on the bus?
No, it's legendary.
It's a good thing Strubing wasn't on the bus, or we would have really been stuck. I wasn't going to tell a story anyway because we had fun. Let's put it that way. I'd like to close. All right. I'm not sure how the process works, but I'd like to thank the committee for seeing the need to induct me in the Springdale Public Schools Athletic Hall of Fame. It's a great honor. It's been an honor and a privilege to be the football coach at Southwest Junior High School for the past 42 years. Who in their right mind does something like this for 42 years? I did it because I loved it. And a heartfelt thanks to every player, coach, staff member, and student, to Springdale Public Schools and its administration. Thank you for the opportunity of a lifetime. I will always be a Southwest Cougar. Go Cats!
We have a saying at Springdale, like, if you break a record, you're doing something, because we've been doing it for quite a while. And our next inductee is going to have she's going to have records for quite some time. She's one of the greatest softball players, not just from HAR-BER High School, her school, but in the district, period. She's a 2010 graduate of HAR-BER High School, and I present to you Miss Molly McInnes for induction into the Springdale Hall of Fame.
Coach Matthews, I don't know how I'm going to top your speech, but thank you everyone for being here tonight. I remember sitting in the very first Athletic Hall of Fame banquet in 2005. My grandpa, Wayne Johnson, was being inducted, and that was 16 years ago. I had a dream that maybe one day I would be being inducted as well. Never thought it would actually happen, but here I am 16 years later. I am honored to be joining my grandpa, my great uncle Bob Johnson, who is here with us tonight, my uncle Mitchell Johnson, and my cousin John Bowman, who was inducted last year. Growing up in Springdale, there was always some type of sporting event, whether it was a Springdale Bulldog camp, Springdale Youth Center basketball, volleyball, softball, whatever it was, I was there. Sports were my life. I remember going to the Springdale High softball camps, and Amanda, you were there. You endorsed my love for softball, so thank you for all that you did for the little girls that went to camp whenever you guys were in high school. I first want to thank God for giving me the ability to play softball. I personally want to thank some of my coaches over the years, Coach Walker at Southwest for basketball, Coach Coons for volleyball, Coach Jones at HAR-BER for volleyball, and Coach Lawson and Coach Kaiser at HAR-BER for softball. I especially want to thank my parents for sacrificing everything that they did for traveling the world or traveling the country for volleyball and softball growing up. My sisters that are here tonight, thanks for always being home alone whenever I was on the road with my parents. So just thank you for letting me play softball from the age I was 5 up until even college. I am honored to be standing up here among all these other great athletes and joining the previous inductees. Me and Kirsty grew up together, played volleyball together, and Kirsty, I think all those games, the Phase 10, the Dr. Peppers, and the Doritos, and Coach Coons' 4th hour, we were her PE helpers. We played Phase 10, got a Dr. Pepper, and got Doritos every single day. I think those got us here today, so thank you.
We're going to take a break for a second on our inductions. I've got a special comment I want to make about someone here in the audience tonight. We've been doing this banquet now for 14, 15, 16 years. I think they've always been great events like they are tonight. But Janet Kate, come here for a second. Oh, I don't want to get the Eeyore now. Come on, not the Eeyore stuff. Janet Kate has been the ramrod of this event for all these years, and she has said, I'm retiring from this event. Not retiring from being our teammate, but retiring from this. She has put her heart and soul into this event every year. Different years, she's cried, she's laughed, the whole bit. You understand, when you put this kind of event on, and you put your heart into it, would you please stand up and give her a round of applause for the job she's done? People have asked me in the last week, how do we make the selections for the induction into the Hall of Fame? And so we have a selection committee that meets once, twice, 3 times a year, depending on the selections. If you are on the Hall of Fame committee, please stand up so I can recognize you. Coach Smith. Hey, where are you at there? Stand up, you're on there too. Come on, get out there. Yeah. So we also have on the committee Roy Fears, Terry Winberry. They are tonight coming back from Little Rock because they're part of the football entourage probably with Kevin Trainer. Dennis DeBusk is also on there. But we look at nominations that people provide us. We don't just kind of like throw a dart at the board and go, yeah, I like that person, that's pretty good. People send us nomination forms, we review. Jana has been fixing us breakfast the last couple of years when we've done this. And so there's a process we go through. A second part of this is then we have the selection made, then the Springdale Athletic Foundation Board goes out and tries to raise funds to put this on. If you're a Springdale Athletic Foundation board member, please stand up. Sullivan, Donald Tucker, Eric Tangus, and our president, Dusty Graham, spend hours getting this all set up, trying to raise funds, try to get partners to get involved, work with Janet Kate again to get this ready. So I just wanted you to all be aware of the process we go through to make this happen. And once again, Janet Kate, thank you for your work for the foundation and this Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Yeah, Jenna's been retiring for 30 years. She'll be back. In my time in Springdale, I've learned two things. Everybody's got a Gerald Williams story, and everybody's got a Dr. Jim Rollins story. My story goes like this. When I started 7 years ago, Dr. Rollins would sit to my right, last seat, right in front of me as we're doing the football broadcasts. In basketball, he sits right across from me, about second from the top. Dr. Rollins wasn't there, something was wrong, and everything was off. That's my story. Everybody, including my daughter who's here tonight, has a Dr. Rollins story. Everybody has met Dr. Rollins. Can't always place where you met him, but you knew you met him somewhere. And he's one of the nicest people who's affected my life here in the Springdale School District. And he is a fixture at every sporting event in that bright red sweater that I absolutely love. I introduce, for induction into the Springdale Hall of Fame, Dr. Jim Rollins.
I want you to pay special attention to these notes, and then I want you to relax. I'm having cataract surgery in about 2 weeks, so I couldn't read anything on it anyway. But I'm going to try. I'll follow Bruce's example. In 1980, I had the privilege to come and join the Springdale team. 1980. So these individuals who are being recognized tonight, they're all my kids, almost. But we all know Charles's story and what a treasure he is in Springdale. Thank you very, very much. It's a real privilege for me, and Coach, I appreciate you acknowledging those who worked to make this event possible. And it does take a lot of great people to make great teams. And as you look across the breadth of the Springdale school system, Coach talked about some of that in his introductory remarks, and you think about the programs, and you think about the great young people, and you think about the moms and dads and caring partners across this community that work together to make this team possible. It takes a team to make a great athletic program. And when you look at the breadth of the experiences that our young people have, I think everyone here would acknowledge that we have a great team, a great team. I've been around athletics my entire life as well, and I think I understand, and always have because of my roots, how important athletics really are for our young people. How do you learn about yourself? Travis, how do you learn about yourself? Hard work, teammates, playing your role, and the list goes on and on. But there's lessons learned in athletics that stay with you forever. It's one thing to learn about the game of football, or basketball, or soccer, or volleyball, or tennis, or whatever the sport might be. But through those experiences, we all who've had that privilege learn a lot about the game of life. And everyone here this evening would acknowledge that. And I want to tell you from my heart what an honor it is for me to be inducted into the Springdale Hall of Fame. I've never missed one of these events, and I hope I can be at many, many others for many years to come, because it's events like this that make community build. It's events like this that create a culture of caring that carries us from one level to the next. Springdale is the place to be for, I expect, most everyone in the room, and it is because of the focus on family and, very importantly, the focus on our students. The Springdale school system is a great system. Few in the country could compare to it from my point of view. We take young people from all over the world, and great teachers and great principals, great coaches, and great individuals like those in the room this evening invest in those young people. And that information is out there for the world to see. And I would just tell you, to have been a part of the Springdale experience for the last 40 years is special beyond words. And again, I'm very, very appreciative and thankful for this induction this evening. I just want to share a couple of stories with you. I came to Springdale from the principalship at McClellan High School in Little Rock. We had what I thought was really great teams there, and I didn't miss any of their games either. But I will never forget, how many in the room know a young man named Chad Wolf? If you know Chad, raise your hand. Chad's really a special fellow. And I saw him with a Bulldog uniform on, and it was almost like a laser the first time I saw him. Coming from deep safety to tackle a running back, I knew I was in a different arena. And I've enjoyed that ever since. How many of you in the room would remember a gentleman named Corliss Williamson? Corliss is a phenomenal human being. But I'll take you back. Coach Smith, you might remember. I'll take you back to a Bulldog Russellville basketball game. And to me, Corliss's character and athletic ability is not the point of the story, but this is what I remember happening. Corliss jumps center, tips the ball to a guard. The guard gives him the pass back. He dribbles down the court and slam dunks the ball. Great event. We all enjoyed it. But here's what the entire Springdale student body did. Every student over there stood up and gave Corliss a standing ovation that seemed to go on and on and on. Those are memories that stay with you over time, and it speaks to the great character of Springdale students. The thing that I love so much and have over the years about Springdale kids is they love to compete. And it really doesn't matter what the sport is. We talk a lot about football and we love it, or basketball and we love it, and the list goes on and on. Springdale kids love to compete. And those of us who've had the privilege to watch them over the years are drawn to their events because of that. And that's still very, very important today. We started 7th grade athletics a few years ago. We did it for all kind of reasons. Coach Delick played a major role in that, but our coaches and our principals did as well. I'm standing on the sideline at one of those first 7th grade middle school football games. And this young man, I knew something about his history, and I probably knew more than I would have known on my own, but I was standing by one of the best principals that I've ever had the privilege to work with, Miss Ford, and she's a great cheerleader and fan of every student she works with. So we're standing there watching the game, and so the quarterback hands the ball to the running back. He runs into the line, kind of does a stutter step, and then around the right end, 80 yards for a touchdown. Miss Ford, who's almost running down the sideline and keeping pace with him. I'm a little farther behind, but I hear the conversation. She turned to me and said, "We just made that young man's life." That story probably can be told over and over and over again for young men, young women who have the privilege to be a Springdale athlete. Those are really, really powerful. We all have Coach Williams' stories, and we should. He is a special individual beyond special. Now, I'm to say I'm a quasi-coach would probably be overstated, but I do love the game, and I follow the game and like to look at the plays that work and those that don't. But I'm not sure, Wayne, that we keep these statistics. But the thing that inspired me so much over the years, if we just kept score on the second half, I'm not sure we would have lost very many games at all. What happened in that locker room had to be inspirational. Great coaches, great assistant coaches who were part of that experience, whether you're Roy Fears or Tommy Lester or whomever all the assistants were, and it was a team effort without question. But the adjustments that were made, to me, is what I loved about the game. I love to see great coaches evaluating situations, making adjustments to put their team in a position to win. And that happened over and over and over again. And I love that, and I was inspired by it. And I expect you were. If you were, do you think I have a point? Let me hear your applause if you had those same thoughts over the years. So the Coach William era, the Coach Malzahn era, 14-0, ranked nationally, one of the best teams in the country. We had the privilege to be a part of each of those games. And if we did, I can assure you we all developed memories that we still treasure, and really they're memories for life. So again, those kind of examples. Coach has already talked about the rivalry between Coach Matthews and Coach Hartsfield. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And I just think of the young people who benefited from that experience, playing that level of competition, giving all they had every game, and it was nip and tuck, each and every one of them. Coach, great job. Bruce, great job. And we're very, very proud of that as well. You know, there's so many things that goes into an athletic event. What happens before the game, what happens at halftime, etc. But just think of all the people who've been a part of helping set the stage for a great atmosphere. State championship after state championship with cheerleaders, great pep squads. Think of what happened on the field at halftime. I had the privilege just a few days ago to be out at HAR-BER and see Jeremy Ford's band, a band that is beginning to rival, I think, those great bands of Miss Ellison. Pat Ellison is one of the great teachers that I've ever been privileged to work with. She influenced the lives of thousands and thousands of people. And she influenced the life of a community during her tenure as well. But again, the Springdale bands over the years have set the bar that others can only aspire to achieve. That history, that legacy is a part of Springdale athletics as well. And we all appreciate that, and I know you do. And I could go on with my list, but there's so many thoughts, there's so many memories that we can share just by being a part of the lives of young people as they compete, as they give their best effort, as they learn for themselves the great potential and promise that each of them has. And again, as I've already said, athletics, from my point of view, helps prepare young people for life perhaps as few other experiences can. This event this evening is a culmination of that sort of thing, and each of you here are making a contribution to the great legacy of the Springdale school system and the great legacy of our athletic program. I am very honored to be a part of this experience. I'm proud of my coaches. I'm very proud of our great students, our great student athletes. I'm very proud of the culture that's come forward with the help of each student, each coach, our teachers, our administration, our school board, and a community that treasures young people. Thank you for including me. I appreciate it very much.
Anyone that's ever put on a helmet, gotten blindsided, gone through 2 days, threw up on the sidelines knows that football starts up front. And tonight we're going to honor one of the best to ever do it in this district. He's a 2011 graduate of Springdale High School. His name's Mitch Smothers. If you go back and watch the tapes, this dude, he's a real deal. He's one of the best to ever do it. I present to you for induction into the Springdale Hall of Fame, Mr. Mitch Smothers.
Hello. For those of y'all that know me, you know I love to get in front of people and speak, so this will be extremely short. But when I think of Springdale athletics, I think there's a word that comes to mind, and it's the word tradition. And as you can see to my right and my left, it's a pretty good example of that. So I was fortunate enough to grow up in Springdale athletics, from Kiwanis Kids Day to Youth Center, George Junior High to Springdale. And I remember as a youngster being up in the field house at Springdale High and seeing all the pictures that just span all the way around the meeting room up there. And never in my wildest dreams I think I would even be up there, but standing right here. So, like I said, I'd be extremely short. So, in closing, I have to thank my wonderful family sitting back here, because I would not be up here today without the support of them. And I would also stand up and tell some stories, but I saw there's some children here, so I might keep those to myself. But congratulations to the other inductees. Thank you to the Springdale Athletic Foundation and for even considering me for induction. This is a great honor, and again, thanks everyone for being here, and wish I had more to say, but I'm a man of many words, so thank you everyone.
Our next inductee is a 1985 Springdale High School graduate. He was a member of 3 conference championships, 1 state title. He also lettered in football, basketball, and track. I present to you for induction into the Springdale Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. Kevin Snavely.
Wow, what a night. This is truly an honor. And I personally am humbled and honored to be included with this class into the Springdale Athletics Hall of Fame. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge my teammates from the class of 1985. I'm getting a little older, so I brought me a prop. Teammates like Alan Smith and Jeff Dillard, Pat Dietz, Brian Walters, Jeff Ripple, Darrell Ross, Scott Davis, Joe Thompson, Aubrey Ziegler, Dennis Galecki, Harold Yakeley, Mike Graham, Steve Hutchins, Grant Hamby, Robert Guerrero, Jason Williams, Mike Tubb, Vernon Crow, and Brian Couch. All members of the class of 1985. I share this with them. I was fortunate to have and be blessed with a great family. My mom and dad are together right now in heaven watching down. I truly believe that with all my heart. They traveled the state to watch us play football. And many times they were joined by their traveling companions who happened to be here tonight. My childhood pastor, Brother Glenn Trusty, and his wife Jane. You know, Bruce coached for 42 years. I think Brother Glenn's been there 46 years. at Elm Springs Assembly of God. My sister, Kim, she's here with us tonight. You know, I don't think I was always the best big brother, but there was no one going to pick on my sister but me. And I think down deep in her heart, she kind of liked that. I'm fortunate to be blessed with my beautiful wife, Deanna, of 31 years, my son, Kyle, and his wife, Abby, my daughter, Catherine, and her husband, Jared. You guys bring me more joy and pride than I can express. I literally had a group of Hall of Fame coaches that I got to play for and learn from. Men like Fred Hartsfield. I was on his very first team when he was a rookie 8th grade coach at Central. Rex Webb was my defensive coordinator and 9th grade basketball coach. If you ever met Rex Webb, you knew he had Popeye arms, red hair, and he could go from 0 to 60 real quick. Jack Bailey, the infamous Jack Bailey. Again, I had the honor to be on his first and only team he coached in the Springdale School District. At the high school, there was Coach Smith, Coach Orr, Coach Winberry, and of course, Coach Gerald Williams. Thank you, each one, for investing in me, that 15, 16, 17-year-old knucklehead that finally got a clue. You know, the last few days have been rough because Coach Hobbs has been harassing me in the South office. What are you going to say? What story are you going to tell? You got to tell the right one. It's a big deal. So I started thinking, you know, I could tell this story about Coach Hartsfield. 8th grade basketball practice. He gets called to the office. He left us with strict instructions, no jacking around. Well, as soon as he walked out the door, we turned the layup drill into full contact. He came back in right in the middle of a perfect form tackle. 500 push-ups later, we weren't jacking around anymore. I can tell you about Coach Smith. The first day, the football players went to basketball practice our sophomore year, and me, Scott Turner, and Alan Smith were doing three-man weave. We was at the back of the line because we had to learn the drill. And the first time they threw me the ball, I forgot what sport I was playing, and I tucked it, took 3 or 4 steps, and then went cramp. I never saw a man laugh so hard in my life. I can tell you about the day that Coach Bailey stopped practice, blew his whistle, said, "Boys, take your hats off, put them under your arms, stand at attention. They're playing our national anthem over there." Mr. Abbott and the band were practicing on the parking lot. We stood dutifully. After that happened 3 times, he politely went over, and Mr. Abbott never played the national anthem during practice again. Now, Travis, you beat us. Coach Williams stopped after 53. First full contact scrimmage, seniors versus JV, we got beat by our own sophomores. 53 win sprints later, we didn't get beat again to the state playoffs. However, I want to tell you about a story concerning Rex Webb. Rex Webb passed away a couple years ago. And I want to tell you a story because he invested in me, like all these coaches. It was after practice one day, and I was a 15-year-old knucklehead that, as my granny would say, I was too big for my britches. I thought I knew more than I did and thought more of myself than I should have. And after practice, I'm walking off the court, and he hollers, "Snavely, come here." "Yes, sir." And he kind of looks around awkwardly, and you see that ladder in the corner? Go get it. I need you to hold it for me. I got to fix this net. So I go get the ladder and bring it under the goal, and I'm holding it. And I remember looking and thinking, "Coach, that's a brand new net. What do you got to do to it?" But he climbs the ladder, he starts fiddling with it, and he looks down, and he simply says, "Everything all right? I'm just checking on you. You seem to be a little off today. Anything bothering you?" "No, sir. Everything's fine." A few awkward, silent seconds. "Is everything okay at home?" "Oh, yes, sir. Everything's okay." A few more longer, awkward silence. Finally, he says, "All right. Just checking on you. I want you to know I care. You can go." I walked off that court and I thought, wow, Coach cared. He just wanted to check on me, not how many points I could score, and I never scored very many, not how many rebounds I could get or how many tackles. He cared about me. Proverbs 15:21 tells us that we hold the power of life and death in our tongue. You can choose to use words that tear people down or build them up. You can choose to use words that make a difference or make a mess. I challenge you, choose your words carefully. You never know what 15, 16-year-old knucklehead is listening and what your words will do to them and how they'll impact them. Thank you all very much.
Our next inductee is a 2010 HAR-BER High School graduate. She was All-State in volleyball and track, and I had to just double-check to make sure I got her name right. Kirsten Southern, I present to you for induction into the Springdale Athletics Hall of Fame.
What an incredible honor to be joining the Hall of Fame with all of these amazing inductees. It's a pretty impressive group of athletes and coaches that I'm here with tonight. My earliest memories of Springdale Athletics would be watching my oldest sister, Jessica, play volleyball for Southwest. At only 8 years old, I wasn't paying much attention and didn't actually watch that much volleyball being played, but I knew that even then I wanted to be just like my big sister. So I started out on my first volleyball team at the Springdale Youth Center. Fast forward a few years, and I had the opportunity to play volleyball at Southwest under the same coach that my sister had, Coach Coons, or as my teammates and I like to call her, Coonsy. While I will never forget my favorite junior high volleyball moment of beating Central, our biggest rivals, there's no doubt that the best part of playing volleyball at Southwest was having Coach Coons as your coach. And it's no surprise to me at all that she's still coaching there today. She truly is the best. Both of my older sisters went to Springdale High School, but I was the first one in the family to go to HAR-BER. And I'm so glad that I did. I was able to continue playing volleyball with all of my teammates from Southwest and even join forces with my rivals from Central. And we put together an unstoppable volleyball team under the leadership of Coach Sandy Jones. There was one team that was able to beat us a few times, and that was Bentonville High School, our biggest rival. My senior year, we met them at the semifinal match down in Van Buren, and we knew it was going to be our last time to face them. They had already beaten us 2 times earlier in the season, and we knew this was going to be, our last chance. So we did end up beating them in 4 sets, and celebrated like we had just won the state championship. And to us, we really had. It was the best day ever, getting to beat our biggest rival our senior year. For those 3 years of high school, volleyball was truly my life. It's what I grew up playing since that very first youth center team, and I thought that's what I was going to continue doing. But as volleyball season was coming to a close, Coach Brett Unger and the track team came knocking on the door. I had zero interest in being on the track team, but Coach Unger didn't give up easily. With enough pestering and persistence, he convinced me to come high jump for the track team. So I told him I would, but it had to be on my own terms. I just wanted to show up, practice a few times, go out and compete at some meets, but that's all I was committing to. He was okay with it, so we got started. At my first meet, I cleared 5 feet. Not that impressive. I was like, I don't think I'm really going to do this. But my high jump coach, Coach Rick Davies, he wouldn't let me give up. His first piece of advice was, Kirsty, why don't you go get some spikes instead of jumping in your tennis shoes? And I was like, oh, that's not a bad idea. So my parents and I, went to academy. We got ourselves, my first pair of spikes. And little did we know that there are actually high jump spikes for high jumpers, but we didn't know that. We just got the normal running spikes. It was fine. So the next meet, I jumped an inch higher. And then each meet after that, I got an inch or two higher until eventually at my conference meet, I jumped my best PR of 5'8". That week in practice, Coach Unger's wife, Jody, who I refer to as Mrs. Coach Unger, she said, you know that you're good enough to go do this in college now. And I was like, what? Like, I've played volleyball my whole life. That's what I'm planning to do in college. And she was like, no, like, you can go compete for the Razorbacks on their incredible track team. I wasn't sure about it still. I had plans, but I had to stick with it and finish out the track season. So our state meet happened to be at the U of A. And after winning the meet, the head coach at the U of A, Coach HAR-BER, he invited my family and I up into his office, where he proceeded to offer me a scholarship to compete on the Razorback track and field team, which is where I ended up having like the best 4 years of my life. So I want to make sure I take a chance to thank all of the coaches that I had during my time at Springdale. Coach Davies, my high jump coach, both of the Coach Ungers that were the head coaches for the HAR-BER track team, Coach Jones, my volleyball coach at HAR-BER, and Coach Coons, my volleyball coach at Southwest. Those 5 coaches truly believed in me, encouraged me, and really pushed me to be my best. My track and field dreams came true as a Razorback. I honestly didn't even know I had track and field dreams until my senior year of high school. I got to travel all over the country and compete at most of the schools in the SEC, and even made it to the University of Oregon for the NCAA championships my junior and senior year. I even got my first pair of high jump spikes. While I will never forget my accomplishments as a high jumper for the Razorbacks, my biggest triumph there was meeting my husband, Travis, who was also on the track team. And just a shout out to him, he's an 8-time All-American and a 2013 national championship. So, good job, Travis. There are definitely 4 people, though, that I need to recognize and thank, and that is my parents and my sisters. So, sorry. My parents drove me not even all over town or all over Arkansas, but truly all over the country, supporting me as I played volleyball and then as I started my track career. Katie came to every single track meet all through high school and through college as my own personal record keeper. She probably still has all of the papers of every jump that I took. The 4 of you, this honor truly goes to you guys as my biggest role models, mentors, and supporters. So, thank you all.
I'm not trying to hold you up here, man. Make you a bit more nervous. Yeah, okay. This has been a great night. Some great stories, some dreams that have turned into memories, and we're not done yet. But we do have our silent auction going, and we're going to do that for 30 minutes past our last inductees presentation. And then the inductees, when you finish up, if you would all ease out, back out to the outdoor area to take a group photo, take your plaques with you. And so if you would, when we finish up, if you please head in that direction. And we also want to thank the Hutchinsons and 5H Photography for a great job of getting photos tonight. Randy, any other comments?
You're doing a great job.
Well, that's Zach Kriegel.
Our final inductee tonight is a Springdale High School graduate, and I did look this up, Amanda. You are the most decorated softball player in the history of the district. I present to you for induction into the Springdale Hall of Fame, Miss Amanda Taylor.
Well, that's kind of cool. I did not know that. I'm probably one of your least statistic-oriented person up here. I couldn't even tell you if I pitched a perfect game in high school. I just got up there and threw the ball. I did what I loved, and I played the game. I knew what I needed to do, how to do it, and most of the time I did it. So I do miss it. I was lucky enough to have some of the best coaches that anybody could have. Looking back, it's funny because they all instill the same skills and lessons, but they do it in slightly different ways. They all push you hard and want you to do your best. And if you don't do your best, you're going to keep doing it until you do your best. So they all had that in common. There were some that would make you run until you puked. Being in softball, you don't think that happens, but it actually does. If you didn't throw the ball perfectly, you would drop your glove and you would run to the fence. And that fence was very far, very far. And looking back, it was worth it. So you definitely didn't want to make any of your coaches mad, so you tried to do the best you could. Coach Wilson was one of the ones that you did not want to make mad. I don't see her here tonight, so I don't know if she's still coaching, but I hope she is. You definitely didn't want to lose to Fayetteville. That was a big no-no. I believe that practice we ran 2 miles and did 80 sprints before we started practice. You never wanted to hear her visor pop. That was not good. I was also lucky enough to be able to do travel ball whenever I wasn't playing high school ball. So needless to say, I was playing 365 days a year. And that was life. Went to nationals several times. Went to Florida, Alabama, played in Oklahoma every weekend. And most of that was thanks to the parents. The parents took me everywhere, all across the country, even to Wheaton, Missouri for pitching lessons. I was a slow pitch pitcher, and one day I just decided, hey, I'm gonna see if I can do fast pitch. So I threw it, and I don't know how, but it happened, and here we are today. But we started pitching lessons in Wheaton, Missouri. I threw 200 pitches every day. The parents couldn't catch. So we bought a net for me to throw in, and I couldn't catch what was coming back to me. So I ended up pitching against one of the sheds that we had. So the yard looked great, and the shed looked great. I remember I started off as a JV pitcher, and Allison was the varsity pitcher, and she was like 10 feet tall. I was super intimidated by her, and she got hurt my sophomore year. I had to step up and play varsity. So super terrified, but I ended up making All-State as a sophomore player, which is a huge honor. I made it actually with my best friend at the time in high school. He played baseball, and we both made All-State as our sophomore year. I do remember being a freshman on the high school team, and Coach Wilson had me do a suicide play. And if you didn't put the ball down as the batter, the visor was going to pop. We'll just say that. Yeah, I'm super, super, super honored to have this award and super thankful. Thank you to all who nominated me, and thank you to everybody that came tonight. I want to congratulate everybody that's here. We all worked really hard, and I think we had some pretty dang good coaches, if everyone wants to agree with that. So, thank you.
And before we get out of here, if I could I get all the inductees to stand up for a second? The 2021 Springdale Hall of Fame class. That's all we have for tonight. I hope y'all enjoyed it. We'll do it again next year with Janice. She'll be here. She just likes to say she won't. Thank you all. Please go home safely.